Oh yeah, guys, you have no idea how excited I am to make this video. These cars have been bumperless for 2 weeks, just sitting outside. Just kidding, they were in the garage. But I haven't driven them in a couple weeks because the bumpers were off. This is the new E63 front bumper for the E55. It is painted and ready to go. And then right here is the factory C55 bumper. I had all the cracks fixed up, and this bumper is also freshly painted and looking sweet. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex, and in today's episode, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know to install the facelift E63 front bumper on your E55. But first, let's take a look at quality differences because I only paid $550 for my entire aftermarket front bumper kit. And if you wanted to duplicate this at the Mercedes-Benz dealership, parts only, you're looking at over $2,000. All right, guys, what I have right here is the Sunveer brand E63 front bumper kit. This is made in Taiwan, and I bought it from Victory Road Performance in Virginia. These run about $550, depending on where you get them. Now, this is the same bumper kit that has been floating around some of the Mercedes forums and the AMG Facebook groups for a number of years. It's sold by a guy named Gary Lowe as well, and he helped me out with some installation questions, which was really cool. So I'll link both of their sites down below. Now, aside from quality differences, we're also going to take a look at another option in case you're not looking to upgrade the bumper on your car, but rather just fix the current bumper. We'll look at a repair option that I had performed to my C55 bumper back there. It only cost me $250, including paint, and it looks fantastic. So without further ado, let's get into quality. The first thing I noticed was that there was a weight difference between the factory E55 bumper and the new aftermarket E63 bumper. I weighed the E55 bumper first, and fully assembled it came in at 20 pounds. Next up was the aftermarket E63 bumper, and without the front lower mesh grille, it weighed 14 pounds, so figure roughly about a 5-pound difference between the two bumpers. Now, to put my mind at ease, I used a digital micrometer to measure the thickness of the plastic of both front bumper covers. What I found was actually a little surprising, and that is the E63 bumper on average was actually thicker than the factory bumper. Okay, so other than kind of a meaningless difference in weight, I had a really hard time finding anything wrong with the quality of this made in Taiwan aftermarket E63 front bumper. If I had to nitpick, I'd say that this bracketry that's on this side and right there on that side is a little bit weak. It doesn't really feel that strong, and it doesn't snap right in firmly where it's supposed to, where you can see on the factory E55 bumper, it is rock solid and not going anywhere. But the reality of the world is that I don't think that's gonna make any difference at all, and overall, I think you'd have a hard time distinguishing the quality difference between an aftermarket and a factory E63 bumper, at least the one that I bought. They're not all made equally, so make sure that you're buying this Sunveer brand. That's the only one I can speak of. And guys, I don't have any skin in the game at all. I paid for this bumper with my own money. This isn't an endorsement whatsoever. I just want you guys to know exactly what you're getting so you can make an informed decision on whether or not you want to spend the extra money to buy a factory bumper or buy one of these aftermarket bumpers. So with that said, let's look into another option, and this is for the guys that don't want to upgrade to an E63 bumper, and this honestly applies to any car, and that is just simply having your bumper repaired. This can save you a ton of money, and I've done this on a bunch of cars that I flipped, expensive European cars where the bumpers are thousands of dollars, and they're just cracked up at the bottom from people not knowing how to park. So basically, this is how my C55 bumper looked a couple weeks ago. As you can see, it's in really rough shape. It has like a million rock chips, and there are two large cracks at the bottom. So I brought this over to a local body shop, and this is what they did. Now sometimes they use staples to kind of mend the crack together. Then they use a patch as well sometimes, and then some epoxy, and then they top it off with some fiberglass, and they kind of work their magic. Now obviously you're never going to see the inside of the bumper, and this isn't structural or anything. This isn't unsafe by any means. This is all cosmetic. And let's take a look at the other side to show you guys how how you can't even tell that any of this work was done at all. And here is the bottom of the C55 bumper. Now you're not going to see this either, but it looks pretty sweet nonetheless. And honestly, I can't even tell where the crack was. I think it was in this vicinity somewhere. But what you've done now is you've prevented this crack from growing into this area and potentially causing this lower portion of the bumper to just crack off altogether, rendering this expensive AMG bumper useless. So I paid $250 for the repair and having this repainted, and overall I'm really happy, except they forgot to fill in the license plate screw holes. All right, before we get to installing the E63 bumper on the E55, I have 3 quick tips on buying bumpers and body parts in general, and I'm gonna try and do this in less than 1 minute. First tip, do not send out anything for paint before test fitting it on your car. Sometimes aftermarket bumpers and body panels require adjustments, elongating holes and whatnot, and you don't wanna manhandle a freshly painted part a million times putting it on and off the car. Second tip, try to buy your body parts and bumpers locally. Most of the time you can't return this stuff if you order it online if it doesn't fit, so if you find it locally, you can physically bring it back and return it. My third tip, if you guys want to go OEM no matter what, search on eBay. You can find used bumpers like a used factory E63 bumper, but consider their condition. I could only find ones that were cracked for around $750, so it'd be about $1,000 painted and repaired. That's all I got. Let me show you guys what I needed to do to get that bumper to fit on this car. Then we're gonna put it on and see how sweet it looks. Okay, everything that you see on my blue blanket is everything that comes with the kit, including the front E63 grille, but it doesn't come with the Mercedes plaque here, and I'll list part numbers down below for anything that's missing in this kit. You get this front mesh grille with the clips needed to hold it in. Obviously, you get the entire front bumper cover, and it comes with the washer covers, the tow hook covers. It comes with the fog light grille that you have to install. It comes with the actual fog lights. This chrome trim comes separately, and you do have to glue that in. These chrome strips, one on each side, they come separately as well, and those just snap right in, so that's all included in the kit. And if you look at the inside of the bumper, you do get all the plastic bracketry like this one here. There's one on that side like I showed you earlier, and other than that, on the inside you do not get the foam. I went to the dealership and I bought the E63 specific front bumper foam. It was like, I think $150. Now you can cut up the E55 bumper foam to make it fit supposedly, but I didn't want to do that. As you can tell, the E63 bumper has like a pointed nose, and I wanted to have it contour perfectly to that, so I just spent the money. I got the foam and called it a day. So other than that, if you're installing this with a car that has a factory heat exchanger, it just bolts on and goes. I've read really good reviews that no one has really any fitment issues. But if you're like me and you have a larger heat exchanger, you are going to have to do some modifications, and this isn't specific to the E63 bumper. I had to do this to my E55 bumper as well. But basically, you're going to be cutting off an ear and grinding from this side and from this side here, and you might have to do some clearancing here as well. And that's with the VRP heat exchanger. This might be a little different depending on what you have, but the most important thing here is to trim a little and test fit often, again, before getting the bumper painted. And as you can see, I had to do the exact same thing to the factory bumper as well. Not a huge deal. So let's get to installing this on the car, and I'll show you guys exactly how this ended up working out, because this little bracket here seems to be cut out for some reason. I'm sure this will make more sense on the car, maybe to clear these fins so you're not looking at brackets from the inside. I'm not really sure, but we're gonna take a look at that in a minute. Let me get this thing on the car. So excited to finally do that. right, guys, check it out. I finally have an E63 front bumper on my E55, and I loved what they did with the facelift in 2007 on the E63, and this is kind of like the focal point, and I think it looks amazing. So comment down below, let me know what you guys think. I still have to get the windows tinted, then I'm going to polish the entire car and apply a ceramic coating to everything, including the wheels. I just cannot wait. This thing is going to look so good. It's kind of hard to catch on camera, but the paint does have kind of a lot of swirl marks, so those will all be corrected. Now, a couple other things I want to mention is that this is the Euro spec bumper, so you don't get the little marker light in this area here. That is something that you have to coat out using the Mercedes Star program, and then you kind of just zip tie it out of the way. I will be getting the Mercedes emblem on the grille, and then if you guys want, you can get the pull latch for the E63 because it's a little bit longer, I believe. This works, but it's just kind of a pain in the butt to reach, so I'll list the part numbers down below. Now, something as far as quality, not a big deal at all, but there is kind of like a little gap right in here, and this isn't as firm as the factory, the fender liner doesn't basically attach to the bumper as nicely. Okay, we got to pause here for a second. That flimsy plastic bracketry that I showed you a little bit earlier ended up really bothering me because the fender liner was just way too loose. So I found out that you can order 2 plastic brackets and glue them into the inside of the bumper, and that should hold everything a lot better. Also, there is no hardware included to attach those grills that are around the fog lights, so you'll need to go to the hardware store for that. But I'll leave part numbers for everything in the description box down below. So in the end, I definitely think that a cheaper aftermarket bumper is totally worth it, especially considering the massive cost savings. Now, not all aftermarket bumpers are created equally. I've installed a couple dozen of these, and there have been a couple times where the bumpers wouldn't line up, and I had to elongate holes and just generally mess around with fitment for a very, very long time. Now, my buddy Sam, you guys may know him as Sam Crack here on YouTube. He has a taco warming car, I think. Sam has a brand new aftermarket Volkswagen Jetta bumper sitting in his barn because it straight up wouldn't fit. He went to an OEM bumper and it fit right on. So my point is, definitely check out the reviews on the bumper that you want to buy. Don't always go for the cheapest possible option. And if it's an enthusiast car, hop on all the Facebook groups and the forums and see what everybody else is using, because like the E55, that E63 bumper had been used for like 6 or 7 years, and I pretty much knew that it was going to fit perfectly. So with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It really helps me out. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you've been around for a while, thank you so much for the support. I think we're at like 90,000 subscribers now, which is just crazy. I hope that everybody has an awesome day, and I'll see you all in the next video.